Now he's inviting me, yes, I'm the one who invited him. To come to talk to you guys. But then, this meeting should have taken place earlier. My brother, my Shemeji, Francis Atwoli, had invited me about 2 months ago. But because of other commitments, you have kept on postponing. Until last week he said, this one is now cast in stone. Tuesday, the 12th, he must come to talk to the workers. And today we are here. Asanteni sana. So Wanaswahili wasema ati hayawi huwa. Sasa tumefika siku ya leo, and I'm happy to listen to workers, representatives, and their concerns. Professor has told you about the role that the union has played in the history of this country. We were there, we were young boys in that period of time when you had the KFL, at that time, Tom Boyer, as the Secretary General. You got the Dock Workers Union in Mombasa, then Dennis Akumu. You had the Railway Workers Union. All those are the unions here, which were very key in agitating for independence of this country. But what happened here was not unique. It happened also in other countries, in Tanganyika, in Ghana, then Gold Coast, in Nigeria, all over Africa. The trade union movement were the pioneers in the struggle for independence of Africa. So trade unions are therefore very, very key. And post-independence, also the trade union has played also a very important role up to today, where we are today. But then it is global, all over the place. You go to Britain, you see the role that the Trade Union Congress has played, United States, and so on. Peter has told you about what Karl Marx said, that workers of the world, unite. You have nothing to lose but your chains. This is important, that you unite, because otherwise you will be chained permanently. This is because the society here was evolving from a pre-industrial society, which was basically feudal, to industrial revolution that came, and formal employment then came with it. Now you had got the aristocrats who were owning the means of production, and themselves therefore determining how much a worker was going to be paid. There was a lot of exploitation of the working class in that period of time, until the unions grew up, came up, and people were able to agitate for better conditions of employment and living. So this is a historical process that has taken place across board up to where we are today. And now we now have a formal structure. You've got a tripartite arrangement, you've got the workers, you've got then the government, and then you've got the employers. There, a formal arrangement, how you engage and how you negotiate, so that you don't have a situation where there's too much exploitation. Companies are reporting big profits, billions and billions of shillings, yet they're grumbling about paying peanuts to workers. This is something that should not be happening. But most of the time, those who own the companies, who own shares, would like to maximize their profits. And that's why it is important to have a union that will ensure also that workers don't lose out in this. But what kind of society do you want to create? When they were fighting for independence, remember very well, they were saying that we want Mzungu to leave, Mwafrika take over, so that we can be able to confront three major enemies of our people: ignorance, poverty, and disease. Those are the enemies which were identified at that time. Ugonjwa, ujinga, na umaskini. But then where are we today? 58 years down the road, those major enemies are still just there. Something about literacy, but not where we should be. But poverty is still there in our country today. So how do you deal with this? You must create a society and conditions that will enable our people to create wealth. This is very important. You see, in our national anthem, first stanza says, God bless this land of ours. Justice be our shield and defender. We dwell in unity, peace and liberty. Plenty be found within our borders. Final, plenty be found within our borders. That plenty was not going to drop like manna from heaven. It was going to be created through the sweat and toil of the people of Kenya. So we must create a conditions through which people of Kenya can create that wealth. Enable the people of Kenya to create that wealth. How do you do it? Empower them. For through education, see? Then after that education, conditions of employment where they can be able to create wealth. Create wealth. This is what has been missing. This is where we have failed. And this is where we want now to run with supersonic speed. To create conditions, first we talked about education, and we've said that every child born in our country will get an opportunity to acquire quality education from nursery, primary, secondary, tertiary, up to university education. And when they finish their education, they're qualified, they should be able to access jobs. The jobs where they can be able to earn proper, decent salaries, to enable them to have upward social mobility, to change their socio-economic status, and also be able to support their parents. This is very important. And those who want to do business should also have an opportunity to access capital so that they can begin to start up their own businesses and have an opportunity to grow those businesses so that instead of becoming employers, they can become, employees, they can become employers. This is another thing that is important. Then, in terms of health, we were talking about creating a condition where people can be able to access health services when they are sick. You're talking about availability, accessibility, and affordability. The people. That's where you come up with what you call Baba Care. Baba Care. So in terms of employment, you need to give people opportunities. In other words, you allow the private sector to grow. Private sector must be able to grow so that it can create more employment. Because people are looking at public sector. Public sector. Sisi hatuna permanent secretaries, sisi hatuna ambassadors, sisi hatuna madirectors, parastatals na kadhalika. I tell them public sector employment is so limited. Every the entire public service, that is all civil servants, the police, the military, the county government, employ a total of about 700,000 people. 700,000 people are the ones that the public sector is employing. And those positions are not vacant. They are all occupied. Vacancies only occur when somebody dies or somebody retires. And that is about 10% of the total. Out of 700,000, 70,000 per annum. But every year, we churn into the labor market about 1 million people. Those leaving schools at primary, at secondary, at colleges, at universities. About 1 million people. If those people were chasing 70,000 jobs, where would they be? So the solution is to ensure that the private sector grows and creates more employment. This is the most important thing. So that's why we must encourage the private sector and remove all the impediments that are making it difficult for private sector to grow.